Let's look at the different general notations for the null and alternative hypotheses when you're testing parameters. And so this is going to be for either mu or p. So the first one we're going to look at is the null hypothesis. And so regardless of which parameter you're testing, your null hypothesis is going to start out with h naught followed by a colon. And the null hypothesis is the statement that you are told about your population parameter. So let's say in an example you're told that the average mileage per gallon of a new car is some value. Then you would state in your null hypothesis that mu is equal to whatever value that you were given. And so in this case, k is any real number. If instead you're testing a population proportion, then you're still going to have h naught followed by the colon. But what changes now is instead of having mu, you're going to have p, because you're told a statement about p and not mu. And here you're still going to have that p is equal to some value k, but this time k represents a proportion. And so remember, proportions are decimals between 0 and 1. If we move on to the alternative hypotheses, what really changes, or the only things that change, are the subscript that we put on h and the sign that we're going to put in the middle. So then, while the null hypothesis is a statement that we are told to be true, the alternative hypothesis is what we suspect. And so your options are: you suspect that mu is less than the value of k that you were given, you suspect that it's greater, or you suspect that it's just simply different from. And so in every case, your your alternative hypothesis starts with h1 and then a colon. And so again, the only thing that changes are the subscript and that symbol there. And so when you're dealing with less than, you're going to have the less than symbol, and this is called a left-tailed test. And so when you have proportions, again, the only thing that changes is the subscript and the symbol. And one thing I want to point out is that in each case, k is the same value from the null hypothesis. So if I move on to greater than, then I'm just going to have that mu is greater than k, or that p is greater than k. And this is called a right-tailed test. And again, k is the same as the value from the null hypothesis. And for the last one, the symbol I'm going to have in the middle is an equal sign crossed out to state not equal to. And again, in this case, k is the same as from the null hypothesis, and this is called a two-tailed test.